Konnichiwa, minasan. Watashi no namae wa. I mean Parker. Des. Dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu. This is part 2 of Dreamland. Dreamland. The place where dreams come true. Welcome to the world of dreams. In my dream, I can teleport without being detected. If I put my 2 fingers on the top of my forehead, I can teleport from one place to another. And in that state of teleportation, no one can see me moving around. This is a technique that I've seen from Dragon Ball Z when Goku wants to teleport from one place to another. Simply putting your 2 fingers, your pointer and your middle finger, putting those 2 squarely on your forehead between the eyes, I can easily teleport at will in Dreamland. If I find myself in a sticky situation, I can easily go through walls as well. Simply putting my hand on a wall and envisioning myself going through it. I always see my hand going through the wall as I go completely through the wall to the other side of that wall. I do these 2 techniques at any point in time in the dream world. When I find myself in a situation where I feel like I'm going to lose my life. These are some of the superpowers that I have in my dream, and it never fails me throughout life. When I'm in that dream world, I can always do these things. There are many times in my dream world that I know I'm dreaming, and I gain such confidence that I can do anything at that point. This voice note is just an add-on to the last one. So let me make it just a little bit more exciting. There was a time in my dream where I got off the bus and the environment did not look recognizable to me. Oh, don't get it twisted. I got off at my usual stop. I knew it was the usual stop because when I was on the bus looking out the window, I knew exactly where I was. Things made sense. But the moment I got off that bus, the environment completely and totally changed. And the bus drove off. It was dark. It was nighttime at that time. So imagine my fear. Imagine how scared I was inside. I did not know where I was. But the environment looked like the ghetto, the slum, the hood, if you will. And I knew that that was a dangerous environment. So I walked and walked and walked. until I came to the subway. Thank goodness for that. So I went down to the subway, to the train platform. And what really made me scared was that I did not know what train I was waiting for. Because I did not know where I was. And one thing I knew was that it was not the typical train station that I'm accustomed to. Where was I? All of a sudden, I heard a sound in the background. Solewa bakemono des. Yes, solewa bakemono deshita. And I ran as fast as I could, even though I was at the train platform. And the bakemono ran after me. So what I did was I jumped on the train tracks. Luckily, I did not get electrocuted. I looked back, and then I seen in the distance behind me a light flashing. It was the light of the train on its way. And the bakemono was standing on the platform. So I could not go back on the platform, or I would have been eaten alive by the bakemono. So what I did in my dreamlike state was something that I typically do. I could teleport, which could wake me up also. Or I could fly. And I did just that. I jumped up in the air and I flew in the tunnel. I flew in the tunnel and it was dark in the tunnel. It was scary in the tunnel. But I flew and flew and flew. Of course, there were rats in the tunnel, spider webs in the tunnel. I did not get hit by the train because the train had stopped at the platform. But the train was all the way behind me as I was able to fly through the tunnel from one stop to the next stop. That is a superpower that typically saves me in my dreams. As I arrived at the next stop, I flew up onto that platform. And there was no threat there. So I went up the stairs to exit. And I found myself out into the streets again. It was still dark outside, and it began to rain. I had no clue where I was in this dreamland. Eventually, I began walking and walking, and then I heard something else behind me again this time. It was not the bakemono. It was a ningen. Just a regular human. But this human looked very shady. He pulled out a knife, which I knew could have killed me if he would have jammed it into my chest. However, that is what he intended to do. And as he began to thrust that knife towards me, I closed my eyes very tight in the dream world, and I put 2 fingers on my forehead, and I closed my eyes so tight that it made me wake up back into the real world. Minasan, watashi ni kiite itadaki. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.